Greetings. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter.
No, I don't. That's all right. I'm just going to do a simple thing. And that was it. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter. Here today with Mark. Mark, give a wave there. There you go. Rich. And me, of course, Sean. And the K-Man, I don't know where the K-Man is. I was going to come up with something, and I don't know. Fill in the blank. Something funny and really poetic. There you go. Fill in the blank. That's where the K-Man is. Well, so I wanted to talk to you guys about this because this was a big thing that came out rather suddenly just the other day. Of course, the trailer for Astartes 2 came out, and the following there was a follow-up article that they posted as well, a little snippet that they put on their site as well about Astartes 2 and what it would be about. And I wanted to find out from you guys, what do you think of that, and what do you think about the upcoming, if you read that snippet, what do you think about the upcoming project?
You want to start, Mark?
No, because I have no opinion. I have been down sick for a solid week. And then previous to that, I was out of town on business for 2 weeks. I have not seen it. This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay. Oh, so you haven't even seen the trailer then?
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Rich, what'd you think of it? We're not going to ruin anything for you, Mark.
No. Well, yeah, I'm not going to.
Let me guess. There's Space Marines doing Space Marine stuff in it.
Right.
I'm not going to talk about any of the content of the trailer. I think it was really nice to actually see the creator who kind of kicked off this whole Warhammer animation craze get the chance to actually kind of flex his muscle with the company money behind him. Mm-hmm. So it looks much more polished and much more involved than his first one, which was great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything about the animator or the director of the first Astartes, but the second one looks like it has a lot more moving parts. Looks really well done. There's quite a bit of variety amongst the Space Marines, as opposed to just, I think, what is it, Silver Skulls were the first one, or
no, Retributors.
Retributors, yeah, Retributors were the first one. So I was nice to see all the different chapters involved there, and it looks like it'll be good. I mean, the Warhammer Plus animations have been of varying quality, depending upon, we were just talking about that some of the people look like thumbs and some of the people look great. Yeah. So, when they're put into animated format. So for the most part, I mean, I've been subscribed to Warhammer Plus now since its existence, and I've never stopped subscribing to it. And I've found it to be like anything else. I mean, some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's great. A lot of it is kind of middle of the road. But I think this looks like it'll be a superior feature. It looks like it'll be a good feature. And it'll well respect the lore, which is something that has been a problem of late, that the lore is kind of being called into question by whether they're stewarding it correctly. So
yeah, you hope anyway.
Yeah,
I liked it very much. I mean, when you talk about the kicking off the animation part, it's funny. I showed Secret Level, or no, I showed Astartes to one of my coworkers, a guy named Phil, who had no knowledge of 40K at all, and I gave him no primer on it either. I just told him, here, you should watch this. Had him sit down, like anybody, you tell them you need to watch something, they're going to blow you off at first. And he says, oh yeah, I'll check that out, and then they go to blow it off. So I kept up on him and told him, no, on break you're going to watch this. It's only 12 minutes long. And force him to do so. And he said,
that's what I mean. Just arm lock him into the screen.
Yeah. He said to me afterwards, he said, Sean, I'll tell you what, the only thing that I didn't like about it was that it ended, right? And I thought to myself, okay, it's a nice compliment and all that stuff, but maybe he's just being kind. I didn't push or any of that, didn't question him about it or any of that stuff. It's, oh, great, thank you. Then when Secret Level came out, I had him watch that and took a little bit less forcing this time. He kind of watched that, willingly, and really, really
a little bit less pain and pressure.
really liked that, or said he did, and all of that. And I believe him. I mean, who wouldn't, right? What guy wouldn't like that stuff? Then, when Astartes 2 came out, the trailer, hadn't watched that just the other day, and the thing that really brought home to me just how influential this particular guy's animations are is that Phil then looked at me and started saying, "Man, I just don't." What did he say? He said, "I just don't know how to explain how much I like those characters. Those, he said, I don't know what they're called." I said, Astartes. And he said, yeah, yeah. I said, Space Marines. And he said, yeah, yeah, those. He said, just, they are so badass, and starts talking about, their physical attributes and all of that. And then he starts going into details from Astartes, from the one I had him watch a long time ago. And I mean, he's talking about details in each of the scenes that let me know, because I never talked to him about it, never pushed him on it, none of that stuff. That let me know, yeah, he really, really dug that. That he, these aspects of the Astartes, like he said, their tenacity, they just don't quit. How that dude's, lens is popping because the guy's crushing him. So, and as soon as he gets the chance to bury that blade in the dude, he's on it. The other guy sees he's in trouble and immediately starts running towards him and all. He's just giving details that were just, spot on for it. This, I think, is what, what's his last name? Peterson, Mr. Peterson did with his,
with the director. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Siama Peterson, I think is his last name. That's what he did. And I told Phil, I said, this is the thing, man. There have been other animations. Remember, we watched that Space Marine movie. We've talked about that over at my house and how that was such a letdown, because even those who worked for Games Workshop didn't quite understand what the cool thing about Marines was supposed to be. They tried to make it into kind of this soap opera kind of thing, and that's not what does it. What does it is these guys are focused. They are beyond fear, and they are absolutely focused and committed. And it's not about they know they're going to succeed. It's not that. It's not confidence or any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. They are given the mission, success or failure doesn't matter. They are going to give everything in their pursuit of actually accomplishing it. That's what they are about. And that's what Astartes really got across. It wasn't the soap opera thing, wasn't all of that. It was, here are guys who have been centuries working together, to get the Emperor's will done. They don't need to talk. They don't need any of that. They are beyond a well-oiled machine. This is a well-worn lever action rifle, right? This is just automatic kind of, smoothness that I don't know any other animation that they've done, even with the Warhammer Plus stuff, that has actually achieved that same level of conveyance of what is really cool about the Astartes. And you don't have it in any of the other settings. You don't have that same kind of thing in any of the others. You have the mystical things and other stuff. You have, all of those other aspects that you can have in them, but you don't have that in any of the other ones. And I think that's really the thing that sets it above. And he did that with his animation, the way they move, the way they interacted, all the little motions that they had, because they do have personality. You can see it in various aspects of how they move around. And it's such beautiful, I want to call it acting, but I suppose it's direction. I suppose it would be more, direction or composition, maybe, composition of that. Yeah. So that you get the character, even though it's this, 9 foot or 8.5 foot tall, armored giant who otherwise you shouldn't be able to see any of that stuff, but yet you do. You get those little things, little twist of the head kind of stuff and that kind of thing. Really, really well done. And so you were talking about being subscribed to Warhammer Plus, Rich. Mm-hmm. Be honest. The biggest reason you think people subscribe to Warhammer Plus was because they were waiting for Astartes 2.
Yeah, that and the figure that you get every year. I mean, you know, you get a
I
free
don't.
you get a
I've
free
seen
model
the
every year.
figures. I've seen the figures they were giving away.
Oh, I like them.
I don't. Yeah,
I
you
think
can
they're
like
very
them.
unique.
You can like them, but is it enough to pay the subscription fee to
Eh,
get those singular figures, or do you think it's more about, yeah, they got this guy to he's going to make Astartes too, and I get
yeah,
these
that
other animations along the way. All right, that sounds like a good deal.
yeah, that was. I mean, that was good. I mean, Astartes wasn't really in my decision. It was a new service they were providing. I actually do like some of their painting videos and stuff that they do. You know, their heavy metal masterclass videos and stuff like that. So for me, as a hobbyist, I find some parts of it very useful. But
Now, mind you, I didn't say you. I said
Hmm.
most people
well,
who
most people,
got that.
yeah, probably,
Don't you think they were getting it because they knew that's
possibly,
where the next Astartes was going to be?
yeah, possibly.
I
Well,
mean,
yeah, it was going to be there because they bought him out.
right.
He wasn't going to be anywhere else. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
And the trailer, after it was released, what was it? I think the next day it already had 2.5 million views or something like that.
yeah, it's
And
quite a
I've
few.
seen the trailer become more and more mainstream, kind of because of Secret Level as well, which was another showcase for
Yeah.
his artistic style. And a lot of other people were exposed to that. I've seen so many other people looking at that trailer for Astartes because now they understand. Now they've had a taste of that with the other, and now they're getting into that side of it as well. And it
Right
plays
now,
really well.
it's been up for 3 days and it has 2.9 million views.
There you go.
So
There you go. And for I know that may not sound like a lot for when you're talking about a service where you can have a music video
this
or
is a very
a meme
small
thing that
niche
gets
thing.
right. Exactly. Exactly. This is something that otherwise would not get this kind of play at all.
Yeah.
And here it sits at almost 3 million. For this, don't you think for this community, that's pretty big, you know?
Oh yeah. No, I
So,
agree.
so I think that speaks to his skill and ability in not just animation but composition, putting together a
Yeah.
real piece of art. Each of those scenes they had in there, and Mark, I will tell you, this is not ruining anything, and I'm sure you wouldn't
Oh, I've already watched it twice on silent.
Yeah, he's
you
been
did?
sitting here watching it.
Okay
With the
so
sound off.
like even that scene of that Angel and Carmine coming up the tunnel with the jetpack, and just so many things in there that when you see it, you're like, oh my God, I hadn't thought of something like that, but that looks exactly what I would think a Marine doing that sort of thing would look like. And for some reason, it looks badass, no matter what they're doing. When he's sitting there punching orcs in the face, and then suddenly they turn on him and they're able to get him with the hammers and all that stuff. All that stuff just looks so good, Mark, now that you've seen it on silent, of course, what do you think?
I'm a fan. I think this guy has captured what it is to be a Warhammer 40K fan, right? And that's what we've all wanted. Like when that Dawn of War trailer first came out 20 years ago, whatever the heck that was, with all the orcs and the Space Marines, that was one of the first times we ever saw on screen what was in our heads. Right? And so and so same thing with Astartes, like he, here's a fan, he got it. I watched this and I'm like, okay, that's cool. My concern is always going to be like, this guy's not the only one making this thing, right? There's going to be other cooks. There's going to be other people involved who are like, no, we need to show some humans too, or we need to, add whatever into it to, I don't know, water it down. They think to add their mark, whatever the heck. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this looks great. I'm here for it. But let's be honest, GW's already shot themselves in the foot with recent fiascos. Is this an attempt to deflect or get back onto the path from those missteps? Or is this, we're going to let this guy cook? You know what I'm saying? I hope they just let the guy cook.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, Mark, and I'm glad you brought up the Dawn of War thing, because I still to this day remember when that came out, and I watched that so many times in a row, especially that part where the Dreadnought comes out and starts doing his bit with the assault cannon and all that. As old as that is, as I suppose you would say old school, perhaps at this point, as that is, you're right. When that came out, that was the first inkling of what it could be. And in between that, there have been a couple others. The other Dawn of War 2, had a pretty decent one with the Eldar thing and all that. But man, yeah, I told Phil, I said, you don't realize, sitting here watching that trailer and all the stuff that you have, how long I've been waiting to see something like that. When I was in high school and first started playing it, Mark introduced me to it, and we started playing the Marines and all that stuff. Ever since then, I've been waiting to see something like that, and to live long enough to see it is just something. I mean, that's really cool. That's really awesome to be able to see and experience that, remembering what it was like in the beginning, not having anything. And then, as you said, Mark, seeing the arc of that story. And I do worry about the same things that you're talking about, Mark. And I wonder, with the success that he's had, especially this individual, because he's had more than I think anybody else who's done animations at all for them. I think his stuff is way more popular and respected than anything else, anything GW's ever done. And so I wonder very much.
Including Fire Warrior?
I forgot Fire Warrior. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Yes. Excluding Fire Warrior and its need for the red and blue and yellow keys. I wonder, because I've also, you're going to sound pompous, I've also done stuff for Games Workshop before, and I know the process that they have. Not just for them, but for other companies too. When you're doing a piece of artwork for a company, you would hope it's going to be mostly in the hands of an artist, or that's what you think when an artist is doing something, and it's not. They set you down and tell you, oh, I like this, no, I don't like that, and this kind of thing. And you really want to just punch them in the face sometimes, because, Mr. Brown doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, or Mr. Bean, to use him. Yeah.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah, he always sounded like Mr. Bean, if you know who I'm talking about. He was in charge of Black Library, and so you wonder, because you're right, Mark. There's always that possibility, regardless of the success, you can have those executives who feel like that's fine, but I know what it is. It's more of an ego thing, I've got to direct this thing, rather than letting the guy who's already proven it go out and do his thing. So I wonder about that. I really do. And in regards to that, since you haven't seen, I don't think either of you have seen the snippet they put on the website about it. Well, Astartes 2 and what the story is supposed to be.
No, I have not.
Okay. The characters that are in what you saw, the trailer, none of that is going to be in the series. That's not what the series is. The series is, each of those characters you saw in the trailer is who will be in the series, but it's not about the stories you saw in the trailer. Okay. That was like an introduction, or used as an introduction to the Marines that will make up a Deathwatch squad. That's why at the end, you saw the Terminator's helmet with the Deathwatch emblem on the helmet, is because that's supposed to be what it's about, is each of those characters take part in the Deathwatch squad. That's, so the Astartes 2 trailer that they put out, that was actually the beginnings of his work on what was going to be Astartes 2. And now it's changed to where it's going to be about a Deathwatch squad that is about those characters. So in regards to your concern, Mark, I have the same thing actually, because I wonder, was that his choice? Was that Sam Peterson's choice? Or was that Games Workshop saying, no, we'd like to do it about Deathwatch squad. You can use those characters in it, or something akin to that. I do wonder about that.
I'm wondering myself. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, we have plenty of examples of people who can produce good-looking content but still miss the mark, right? And I'm talking about Avatar, and I'm talking about some of the later Star Wars movies, and there's a lot of content out there. It's like, oh, cool, here's lightsabers and Jedi, and it doesn't hit. You know what I mean? And here's Avatar is a beautiful-looking movie, and some of those scenes are really cool. You got gunships and all this cool stuff, but it doesn't quite hit. Right, Sucker Punch, man. That would talk about a mixing bowl of amazing things.
Yep.
That you would expect all these ingredients to work well together.
Yep.
And it didn't quite. So that's the concern. Is Cool Space Marines. It sounds like an easy win, and I don't want to approach this negatively at all. And yet, I feel like out of self-defense, I almost have to be cautiously guarded.
And it's weird because you have I agree with you. And it's weird because you have the examples of not only Astartes, but then you have Secret Level as well, which I thought was really well
Which was
done.
Great, yeah.
And I still have those reservations about this upcoming one, even though they could point to these and say, but we gave you, this great example of what we're going to do with him. I still have reservations, man. I do. Maybe it's just the cynic in me from all my years on this earth at this point, and it's unfounded. But yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I am concerned, and I hope we're wrong. I hope our fear is unfounded. I hope they do a really, really great job with that, because man, it would be good to have that. It would be good to have that. So anyway.
Yeah. Now, do we know what this is going to be? Is this going to be 30-minute long episodes, and there's going to be 9 episodes, or
no idea.
Yeah, no idea. No idea.
Yeah.
With a whole team and everything behind him, I'm hoping they're going to be more substantial, of course, than what he was able to do on his own. But I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what it would be. And he's been at it for a while, I imagine. He's been dealing with this stuff for quite some time and doing the Secret Level stuff and all that. So maybe they got a bunch of stuff ready to go. Maybe it's been such a time and he's able to get some things going. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, I'm here for a Deathwatch show.
Yeah, I'd be.
That's not a hard pitch. Yep, I'm for it.
I would love to see how he animates tactical dreadnought armor. I'd love to see how he animates dreadnoughts. I'd love to see the whole thing, man. The tanks look good. All of that looked good. Just really good stuff. I'm here for it, Yeah. I'm both excited and dubious at the same time. So,
dubious.
Sounded like you were going to expand there or expound on something, Rich. Were you going to say something else, or just sit there and freeze?
No. Looks okay to me. No, dubious is one of those things that, unfortunately, this company has. I used to have a lot of trust in them that they were going to make the decisions. Even if not all the decisions were one I agreed with, that they wouldn't stray off the path too far. And now that trust has been broken a bit because they've strayed so far so many times that I think dubious is an excellent word, because now I approach everything where I used to approach things with a sense of confidence that they'll do their best. Now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe this time, maybe not. I'm not sure. It's much more of a crapshoot as to whether it's going to be the quality that I expected every time. I don't know if that's because they're pushing the envelope of what they're doing, or they've just kind of gotten complacent in their superiority.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe a bit of both. I don't know. So, all right. Well, anything else you guys wanted to cover, or just that for this week? What'd you think?
I think we're good.
I'm looking forward to watching it with the sound on.
Well, remember, it's Sam Peterson's work, so there's really not much to hear
Yeah.
other than, the music was good. I did like that.
A lot of
Soundtrack
shooting.
was pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, the shooting and stuff. Yeah. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, let's hope that it's good. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Until then, remember,
Okay.
Rich loves you deeply.
Deep.
This concludes our Speak Nerd and Enter broadcast.